Hi guys, and welcome to this episode of the Happy Knitting Podcast. My name is Julia and I am coming to you as always from Germany. Today is Sunday the 13th of January 2019, and once again, of course, I am so happy that you're joining me today to talk about some yarn, some knitting, and just generally crafty things. Welcome to any new viewers and welcome back to anyone who has been following this podcast for a while. Today I think it is going to be a rather short episode, which is good because the last ones have all been relatively long, at least for my standards, and long episodes take a lot of time in terms of editing, uploading and such, so I'm trying to get back to a 30 to maybe 45-minute recording schedule and we'll see how it goes. First of all, I will talk today very quickly about what's happening in the group, what's happening with the knit-alongs, followed by some finished objects, works in progress, acquisitions, and then possibly some life in general talk. And like I said, I'm going to keep it a little bit more short today. So first of all, we have a group on Ravelry called the Happy Knitting Podcast group, which is always linked right underneath this video. So if you want to join in the conversation, that's the best place to do it. We have two knit-alongs running at the moment. We have the Happy Sweater along and the Happy Handspun along. I won't go into the details of them today, so just go to the threads if you haven't heard about them yet, and you will find all the information there, as well as a lot of enablement and fun knitting to look at. Besides that, as usual, I won't be posting any show notes, but you can find my project pages where there's all the information that you need right there, and you can just look it all up. Also, I'm sorry, I'm saying 1,000 times today. I sometimes do that, and then of course the more you focus on not saying that, the more you say it. But let's just have a cup of coffee. This is my second cup for the day in my Harrods mug, which I love, although I suppose it's more of a teacup, but who cares? And let's just jump in. We actually just got back. We went out for breakfast this morning to one of our favorite places, and part of that was just that we needed to free the car from the snow and move it around because we have so much snow, you guys. It is ridiculous. I mean, in some parts of Germany closer to the Alps, it's even worse and actually quite dangerous. So we're lucky that here it is just a little bit annoying, and I have been loving the snow, but by now it is just so much of it, and I was struggling even with my four-wheel drive car just then, so I'm kind of ready for spring and the snow to be gone soon. Anyhow, like I said, we just got back and I jumped straight into this podcast, but I think we should be okay. So let's talk about some knitting instead of the weather and coffee and all of that. I have two finished objects today. Before I talk about those though, very quickly, what I'm wearing today is my FO from last week, which is the Brioche sweater by Ellie of Scandia Knits. It is a colorwork sweater that was in the latest issue of Latte, which is a Norwegian knitting magazine. Just to give you an idea of the colorwork, it is a very loose-fitting, oversized sweater. I did mine cropped. Possibly a little too cropped for my personal preferences, but I'm going with it for now. And the yarn that I used is Jamieson & Smith 2-ply jumper weight. That used to be my favorite yarn for my first sweater that I knit out of this yarn, and for this one, the second one, it turned into a bit of a beast and I don't love it as much, and I think the reason is because I knit this on a much tighter gauge. So this is a very warm sweater. It's probably going to be way more durable than my lighter sweater out of the same yarn. But I just realized I prefer this yarn knit at a looser gauge, so that's what I'm going to do with my leftovers, because I have enough yarn to still knit at least 2, if not 3 more sweaters just out of this yarn. Oh well. So that is my Brioche sweater. For those of you who wanted to see it worn, this is what it looks like. And it's got a really good fit around the shoulders and stuff, just because it is oversized, and I do really like that. So moving on to FOs that you haven't seen before, I finished these socks and I'm so happy they're done. I have 2 of them, and I showed these to you last week as a work in progress. They were my New Year's Eve cast on, and I have mixed feelings about the yarn, to be honest. This is Regia in their tweed sock base, which is, I think, relatively new. So it's a merino, no, it's not it's just a virgin wool and nylon blend with some tweed naps in it. I thought the colors were quite fun, and I've been wanting to try this yarn. So I just knit a pair of vanilla socks. I don't know, I never really warmed up to the yarn. It's very rustic, but it will be really good in terms of holding up in the wash. And as you can see, I did a, what's it called? Heel flap and gusset construction. So I did the heel flap the way my grandma taught me, and then I did a sort of heart shape or triangle, I think it's also called heel turn, which was fun to do. I really enjoyed it. In terms of the fit, I haven't really worn these too much because I don't know. I'd only tried them on once. I don't know if they're going to be a gift or if they're going to go into my sock box. I think I might do some more heel flap and gusset constructions in the future. It's what I used to do for a long time before I fell in love with the fish lips kiss heel. But if I do more heel flaps, I think I want to do more of the square heel turn, which I think is also called the Dutch heel. I just like the look of it better, but like I said, it fits and it works just fine. It's just a plain vanilla sock. I made them to match, except I knit one foot longer than the other, just a tiny bit, which usually really annoys me, but I'm trying to not get upset about little things because there is no way I'm wasting my time ripping the toe out just because of like 3 rows that should have gone differently. So, oh well. These were knit over 64 stitches as usual on my US size 1 or 2.25 millimeter needles. So that's my first FO. I'm sorry I don't know the colorway number, but if you search for Regia color tweed, or tweed color I think it's called, there's only one that has these sort of orange and pink stripes, so you will find it very easily. My next FO is one that you haven't seen as a whip, excuse me. And I just felt like casting on some quick projects. I have been into quicker knits lately, which has been really fun. And I also have been wanting to just knit from stash and get some stuff out of stash. So I had this yarn in my stash. This is a yarn that I bought from a French yarn store in Nice about 1.5 years ago. It is an Italian yarn actually. It's called La Lana de Signo Nero in their Punto base, which is essentially just a sport to DK weight superwash merino yarn. So I think back then I got 4 skeins or 4 50-gram balls to knit some kind of color work. And I used the first 2 balls to knit my sister a pair of Selby mittens, if you remember those. And then I had these 2 colors left, and I've been wanting to knit more stuff for Kai. So I originally thought about knitting him some Selby mittens as well, because I know he wants some. But I didn't really love knitting mittens with superwash yarn the first time I tried it, so I decided to go for a hat instead. And I just really couldn't decide on what kind of pattern. I kind of felt like color work, but I don't know. So inspired by the brioche I've been doing from my Love You Baby shawl, I decided to knit a brioche hat. And funny story, I've knit a lot of brioche in my life. I've never knit brioche in the round, which is actually much easier, so that's why lots of people actually start with brioche in the round. I've never done that, but I figured how hard could it be? So I've done this without a pattern. I just cast on 72 stitches on a 3.75 millimeter needle, which I'm pretty sure is a US size 5. I originally was going to go up a needle size after the brim because I just wanted it to draw in slightly at the bottom, but I realized that this hat is going to be quite loose already. So I decided to stick with the needle size and then just knit a hat in brioche rib and figured out some decreases at the top. Again, no pattern, I just kind of made it up. And it turned out a little bit fiddly at the end, but yeah, I think it looks fine. And I woven the ends in a way that you don't see them, so you can wear this hat both ways, which I think is really, really fun. Kai likes it. He doesn't love it yet because I think he's missing the sort of structure that other knits have, because just the way that brioche is, it tends to be a bit more floppy. And yeah, but I think it's a really fun hat. I really like how you can just wear it both ways, and if Kai doesn't wear it, I will wear it, and that'll be it. So that's a quick project, even though it was not as quick as I thought it would be, because I forgot that brioche takes a little bit more time, because essentially you're knitting each row twice. But yeah, that is my hat. I need to weigh the leftovers and see what I'm going to do with those. But yeah, it's just really fun to whip up a quick project. It doesn't look super pristine because I didn't do a very good job in blocking. I just blocked it on the heater because I wanted it to be dry very fast, and I kind of got a bit of a line going, but it's a hat, who cares? So those are my 2 FOs for this week. I have so much yarn on the table because I haven't been cleaning up. It's kind of all closing in on me, but you can't see that, but it's making me a little bit all over the place. But who's surprised by that? Okay, next up I will talk to you about 4 whips that I'm working on. Where should we start? In my Christmas bag, because yes, I'm still using my Christmas bag, is a cast on that I did before Christmas. These are my vanilla latte socks, which I am knitting out of this yarn. Let's see if I have the tag. No, of course I don't have the tag. This is yarn from Amy of the Stranded podcast and Stranded Dye Works. This is her MCN base, so it's a merino cashmere nylon, and the colorway is Batcave. And I am knitting a pair of I'm knitting a pair of vanilla latte socks. So the first sock I believe was already done last week, and I'm working on the second one, and I've knit almost down to the heel. I think I have about 10 more rows and then I'll turn the heel. And yeah, I'm still really enjoying how this yarn is knitting up. I think the colorway is really cool. I got a one-off skein, and it has a couple of these like purple flecks in it, which isn't supposed to happen, but I don't really care. I think they're really fun and pretty, and I can't wait to have these done. So Vanilla Latte Socks is a free pattern on Ravelry. I always forget who the designer is, but you can look it up, and I've knit this a ton of times. It's just a fun and still relatively easy pattern to knit. So yeah, that's where we are with that. As usual, 64 stitches, US size 1 needles. And I'm hoping to have this done next time I podcast. This is actually my only sock project. Can you believe it? But I am wanting to cast on more socks, don't worry. I'm just waiting for some needles to arrive. And actually last night I don't know why I was up at night, but I was lying in bed and I realized that my soon-to-be father-in-law, he has a birthday coming up, his 80th, in the middle of February, and he loves his socks. So I actually thought maybe I'll cast on some socks for him. Like that would just, he would really, really like that. So I may actually do that today. But we'll see how it goes. Next up, finally, I have a project that you haven't seen in a while. This is my Mai Sweater, M-A-I sweater, which has been on hold for a while, and I finally sat down and I finished the body. So this is a pattern by Leni Hoy, who is a Finnish designer. She has really nice sort of modern patterns which I really like, although I feel really bad because I just modify everything so much. But this is her pattern, except for me changing the stitch count and me changing the gauge and me changing the bottom rib and me probably changing the arms, but not because I don't like it. It's a really nice pattern, and she gives you the option to fade, which I have done. So I am using 3 skeins of yarn. This is super crinkly because it's been crinkled up in the bag. But all 3 yarns are from Maike, who is Scuderia Fine Yarns, in the Pinta base. And the Pinta base is a really interesting one. It's a mix of merino, silk and ramie. So it's just got a really nice sort of feel to it. It's very soft, and it also has a shine to it, which I really like. So I think it's going to be great for garments. Like I said, I bound up the body. I did it a little bit longer because I just wanted a nice cozy sweater. and I did a lot of 1x1 rib at the bottom instead of the garter, which is recommended. Besides that, this sweater has kind of like 3/4 length sleeves, which has a really nice detail to it. But I'm not sure if I want to have full length sleeves. I haven't really decided yet, so I'm going to have to make my mind up eventually. I have so much yarn left because I'm knitting it at such a loose gauge. I'm essentially knitting fingering weight at a DK gauge. So I'm not sure if I want to do shorter sleeves. I'll have enough to make another whole project with this yarn. Or maybe I'll do full length sleeves, like I said. Don't know yet. This is on hold right now because I'm waiting for some shorter needles for the sleeves to arrive, which should be here tomorrow. And then I will start knitting on the sleeves. So that's my Mai Sweater knit on 3.5mm needles, in case anyone cares. And yeah, very happy to have this on in the needles again, sort of. And I actually am excited to finish this relatively soon. I think I don't have very much work left to do. Sorry. The other sweater that I still have on the needles is, of course, my dark water sweater by Jennifer Steingas, who is Knit Love Wool on Instagram. And I am knitting this out of this yarn, which is Isaya Highland Wool, which I really, really like. This is a really nice yarn to work with. And the main color is rhubarb, and my contrast color is sand. And yes, I am once again playing yarn chicken, because why would you ever buy enough yarn for a project? Like, if you could just play yarn chicken and freak out for weeks instead. So let's try not to lose any stitches, which I have done so many times with this project. There we go. So this is a top-down fingering weight sweater with color work. And can you see it? Again, it's very crinkled because it's been living in the bag. I need some bigger sweater bags, really. I need more sweater bags because I knit more sweaters these days. But what you can maybe see is I have finished the color work. I finished it last night. I have split for the sleeves, and now I just have endless seas of stockinette to knit. So I split for the sleeves a little bit earlier, and also I omitted a couple of rows of the color work chart just because my row gauge was off, which tends to be the gauge for me all the time. I actually got stitch gauge, but I already knew that my row gauge may be a bit of an issue, so I just ended the color work chart a little bit earlier, which I think in the grand scheme of things will be just fine. And now I'm just knitting stockinette. The sleeves, I was a bit worried because they seemed very tight, or the armholes I should say, but I think they will be fine. I'm just used to more oversized constructions because that's what I've been doing lately, but I think it should be okay. What I might do is I might finish the first ball of yarn and then knit a little bit of a sleeve just to kind of get a feeling for it. But then again, I don't have the right needles because I just ordered sleeve needles, but I didn't order two because I wasn't expecting to be working on sleeves of two sweaters at the same time. But I don't know. I think it should be fine. It will work out and block out. And by now I'm really liking this color combination. In the beginning I wasn't too sure, and lots of people were knitting this with really dark and high contrast yarns, which looked really cool. But I think I really like this, and like I said, I am enjoying the yarn. So that's where we are with that. If only someone knit me all the stockinette, but such is life. So that is my dark water sweater. Again, I need to try it on and see if I can squeeze in some decreases. I've done a couple. The sweater doesn't have any waist shaping, but if I do waist shaping, I will have more yarn to play with, which will be helpful. By now I'm starting to think I might have enough. It should work out somehow. Maybe I'll do 3/4 length sleeves. We will just see how it goes. Alright, and my last project is, of course, my Love You Baby shawl. Love You, U as in E-W-E, which is a pattern by Sosu Knits, who is Susanne Sommer. And this is still bringing me so much joy and happiness. This is a 3-color shawl that kind of starts out with a long brioche triangle, and then you start adding on one side, and then in the end I think you're working across the entirety of the shawl, and it's got brioche and garter stitch and a little bit of fading, and it's just really, really fun. So I cast this on when I was really craving color and just a really fun project. So the 3 colors that I'm using, this is my last contrast color, which I haven't skeined or balled up yet. This is Das Mondschaf in her Pegasus base in the colorway Moria. This is Hedgehog Fibers Sock in a club colorway, which may just be the most beautiful yarn that has ever been dyed. This is XOXO. And this is Madeline Tosh Merino Light in the colorway Yoko. So right now I'm only working with the first 2 colors, and I am still working on my brioche section. So let me just untangle that. This stitch marker is where we were last week. So you can see I've made quite a bit of progress on this. And I have really been enjoying this mindless brioche. Now I'm kind of starting to get ready and to start something new, and the rows are quite long. Not super long, but yeah. Anyways, but I'm still really, really liking this project, and I think it's going to be very fun in terms of the construction with what follows as well. So I think I made the right pattern choice with this one. This is what the back looks like. Again, I think it's just so fun. And yeah, I was actually looking for these needles, so now I know where they are. These are my only shorter 3.5mm needles, which is really handy for brioche when you have to slide all the stitches across. But yeah, I was looking for this yesterday. I went down a needle size or 2. I went down to 3.5mm needles, and I think you're supposed to use 4mm. And yes, I'm very happy with this and still working on it, still going strong. And that's pretty much all I have to say about this. So that is my Love You Baby shawl, and that's also it in terms of my acquisition. That's also it in terms of my works in progress. And so we will just move on to acquisitions. So I only have one very large thing to show you today, and that's an order that I still made over Christmas, and that just took a while to arrive, mostly because I was traveling a lot, so I was scheduling packages to come much later. So I still count this as part of my Christmas gifts. I found this yarn on sale, and I've really been into BC Garn lately. BC Garn is a company from Denmark, and they are really fun yarns, and what I really like about them is that they are certified sort of ethical wool producers. So all of the yarns, you know, that they are well produced from animals that were treated fairly with dyes that are somewhat okay for the environment and so on. So I really like that idea, and also I like that these yarns are quite affordable. So I often feel like it's very hard to find affordable yarns that meet the criteria that maybe you want your yarn to have. So I've been playing more with BC Garn, and I can't wait to knit some of it up. So this is the Yorkshire base, which is a 100% wool yarn, and it is 50 grams per skein, which is 225 meters. So I would say this is a fingering weight, a relatively light fingering weight. It is, hang on, how can you wash this? I was so sure it was a non-superwash yarn, but apparently, I don't know. Anyways, it's a woolly yarn either way. I would not wash sweaters in the machine anyways, so I don't care. But it has a very woolly feel to it. I would say it's a 2-ply, and yeah, I just ordered a ton of it because it was on sale, and I thought it would make really, really good sweaters for the sweaters that I have planned. So first of all, I got a couple of skeins in the gray and one red and one natural color, because what I'm planning to do with these is knit the Occhiello sweater. It's a pattern by a designer whose name I can't remember. I'm really, really sorry, but I've already bought the pattern. It's a beautiful colorwork sweater where you Like I will work the color work yoke with these two colors and then knit the main body in the gray. And I'm really excited about this. So I bought this with this specific pattern in mind. And then, not sorry for the crinkling, I also bought 5 skeins of this beautiful, beautiful mustard color. Like, this is just the most beautiful color. Like, I unwrapped this and I'm just so in love with the heathered yellow. This is amazing. So again, can't wait to knit with this. Part of me wants to already order more because I just love this color so much, but I should just knit the sweater first. But yeah, I really, really like this. Very, very excited, especially about this yellow. And of course, as always, I will let you know how it goes. So that is it in terms of my acquisitions. A lot of people gave their ideas about my whole wedding shawl dilemma last week. Thank you for all your input. What I have done is I have decided to order one more skein of yarn because I have a different idea. I'm still not too sure. I'm waiting for the yarn to arrive and to tell me if I want to work with that or not. So that's on hold for now, but when that does arrive, I need to get a move on at some point and actually do something. I think I have a couple of ideas in mind now. I'm going with the shawl idea. A couple of people suggested knitting a featherweight. I've knit a couple of featherweights before, and what I realized is that my dress has a bit of a sort of pearl detail at the top. So by knitting a very sort of fine sweater or even the Elton cardigan, which is what I had planned to do, which has like light lace mohair sections, I'm really worried that that will get caught on my dress. So I'm thinking that wasn't the smartest idea to begin with. So I'm definitely leaning into shawl territory right now, and everything else will be decided when I have the yarn in my hands. And it has just begun to snow outside again. Like I said, we've been having so much snow, and then now it's just been raining on top of the snow. And now this rain is turning into snow again. Yeah, so that is it in terms of the nitty content for this show. In terms of what else has been going on, really life has been quite boring. I survived my first week back at work. I was a little bit anxious about that, but it turned out to be fine. I had a pretty rough start because I started straight by going away on a business trip, but it actually went really well, and I was really lucky in hindsight as well, because obviously public transport in Germany and just general traffic has been quite affected by all the snow. But I had no problems getting there and back, so that was really, really lucky. Besides that, yeah, everything has been going okay. I had one thing I was going to tell you about, and now I forgot. I'm actually doing I'm doing all the holiday planning at the moment. Last year I had quite a few holiday days still saved up, which I couldn't take. So now I have the luxury of being able to take a couple of days off work before a holiday, before our wedding as well. So we have 2 trips planned in the next 5 weeks, and I'm really, really excited about them. So yeah, really, really we should be planning the wedding, but then again, we're just making the most of the time that we have, and we're going to do some short trips, and I'm planning an vacation as well. So really, I just only have to work 4 more weeks, and then I'll have a couple of days off, which is of course a luxury, and I'm really, really excited about that. So besides that, today is Sunday. I'm planning to now just cuddle up on the couch and do a whole lot of knitting. I'm very excited about that. Like I said, it's really gross and disgusting outside. We've just been outside, so that's done for today. The apartment is clean. Everything is just waiting for me to sit down and knit, so that's what I'm going to do. So as usual, thank you so much for watching today. I really hope that you enjoyed this podcast, and I will see you again most likely next week. Have a good one. See you soon. Bye.